Tuning into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV, the Mob Wives Reunion Part 1. Trust no one. I am your host, Nicole Brajer, and be sure to hashtag ABTV Mob Wives to join in on the conversation. You can follow us live on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tune in on the app. You can also look into YouTube, SoundCloud, if you will, or I think that's it for the most part. And let me introduce my two lovely new panelists. Go ahead, ladies.
What's up, everybody? I'm Paulina Aguilar.
Hey there, I am Blake V.
And we're just going to get right to it. We're missing, of course, Gabby and Erica. They're both extremely sad they can't be here tonight because, you know, this is the reunion, and it's kind of up in the air whether Mob Wives is going to be back for another season. So I think we'll have a full panel next week, and as you can see, we brought the wine. We're ready to go for you guys, and we might get a little loose along the way and say some things that really piss you off. You know, the fans. I know you. I know who
it's okay,
I'm talking
like to keep things spicy here.
But exactly. We're all opinionated women just like these wives, right?
Absolutely.
Mob AFTERBUZZers.
Yeah. So we're going to just dive right into this reunion, which let's just overall, like, say how we felt about part one of the reunion. What do you guys think?
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I think we were both in agreement that they are really dragging out the drama. I feel like we both kind of felt the same way that we did at the finale. It's just like we were waiting for everything to come out, and it still hasn't.
I feel like nothing got settled. Nothing really got resolved. The truth, we didn't really get that from really a lot of the storylines that were happening throughout the season. So I was kind of disappointed, and I hope that all the drama that they're waiting for part two isn't a flop.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be disappointed by part two of the reunion. You know, in the preview we see a fight going down, and I hope it's not.
I got a little giddy from part two preview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I did too.
There's definitely more to come.
Yeah. I think that we just heard some unbelievable things, I think, in this reunion. We heard things that we've heard before, but there was also those little quirky things, which we'll get to, that, because we've got a lot of notes, that they said, and I was like, why did they just say that? You know?
Right.
And we'll go through some of those things that I was surprised on, and I'm sure you guys will pick up on what surprised you. So we get into a montage in the first part, and let's just quickly rewind. Vivica Fox is the host. Paulina's shaking her head.
I did not like her, and am I the only one that didn't like her?
In the beginning, I was like, girl, what are you doing? You know, I'm sure people, but it's hard. We're hosts. We know the deal. Like,
right.
It's hosting isn't just
talking and reading a persona.
You have to be yourself. And we saw in the beginning she was being hosty, just reading off the prompter. It was like, okay, Vivica, we get it.
Right. Well, that's what I didn't like. I didn't like the posing and the breathing. And I think that because we study hosting and we are hosts, and you know we know a little bit more of the mechanics about it. I think that was what I was seeing in her.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, that's a no.
I was like,
picking it out.
Don't do that. Yeah. And you know. That I think that was just me being a host. It's
interesting though, because I kind of had like opposing opinions about her hosting it, because first of all I thought, oh no, this can't work, because she automatically has such a strong personality. Mm-hmm. These women have such strong personalities. I'm like, this is going to be automatically butting heads. But then as I was watching it, I was like, but you know what? They kind of need a strong personality to reel them in and tell them to stop and tell them to be quiet and kind of like
who else is going to do that besides Hercules?
You know, but like, you know who's done other reunion shows? Wendy Williams, I think, would have been good.
Oh, that's a good one.
But another one that I think a lot of people don't think of is John Sally. And if you watch The Basketball Wives, he did great mediating, you know, those women, and they were strong, opinionated, and you know, and loud and everything.
And those are really good suggestions, I think.
I would have joined the other two. I don't think I think Vivica should be an absolute great actress. Stick to acting.
Stick to acting.
Stick to acting. Yeah.
You know, but she came alive a little bit.
She
did. They all came alive.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Some of her reactions, you wondered, like, was that present reaction to what they just said, or was that like filled in from other you know, like, I mean, overall, I give her like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she was horrible by any means, and she did a good job of reeling them in. I mean, that's a tough crowd, I think, you know? Yeah.
And we'll get to
we'll give her 3.
The Nat G and Vivica Fox tweet drama at the end of our panel discussion. I see that even Snooki was in on that. She tweeted and got a lot of retweets about how she goes, is it bad that I'm following this tweet drama right now between the two of them? I mean, the thing about Mob Wives is why I think so many people watch us talk about them and so many people tune into the show and are hoping for another season is because we've said this before, of all the wives shows on reality TV right now, this one's the most real. This one, as much as, you know, every reality show has its scripted stuff and its production whispering in everyone's ear, at least they come from some sort of reality, you know, the mob, the streets, like they all have a culture that they stick to, and that's why Nat G sticks out so much, because she doesn't abide by it.
Yeah, and their personalities and just their whole interactions with one another, it's so addicting.
Exactly.
Right?
It's kind of like this right here.
It's exactly like
red
this.
Wine. And I'll take a sip to that.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so we see the preview, right, in the montage in the beginning, the betrayals and rumors of what went down this season. We see where Trust No One came, Drita, the best. Do you agree? I mean, like, who else could pick the slogan for this season? What a great person. I would say it should either be Drita or Big Ange at this point, because they were I felt like they were the leaders this season. As much as we saw Renee get up a lot of levels coming from a real low, I feel like the true stars of this show
they were like steadily steering the ship, for sure.
I think they just stayed themselves, though. They didn't change. And I think that's what the fans like. You know, if you're going to be real, that means you're not, you know, Renee changed for the better, which is great. But I mean, as far as character and personality, you know, they didn't turn into something
that they never been, or, you know, that we never not seen or something like that. Yeah, definitely. And so we've talked about Vivica, okay, and Renee with a boot on. Did she not really get into why she was wearing the boot? She said Drita did it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think she did. She made the joke, and then they kind of moved that one right along.
Yeah. No big deal. Personal thing. And then we dive right into Karen coming back. That's the first thing they touch on. Karen coming back to the show, the realest bitch we know, Karen Gravano, and she said she didn't like Renee swimming with a bunch of sharks, you know, last season. She needed to come back and save her girl. And then they get into, you know, right off the bat, Natalie and Karen, and how Natalie has nothing to say to Karen to her face, but has so much to say online. And, you know, Karen was glad to be back, she said, which I don't know how. What do you think? Like, I mean, like, I don't know how she could have, in the beginning with the drama and, like, with Storm cheating, I mean, she must have felt some kind of, like, regret coming back to this city where she left because of all the drama.
You know, I feel like that actually has a lot to do with it. I feel like she, you know, kind of took her moment away and went to Arizona and had her life. And I feel like since this show, she really, like, has, you know, really wants to reinstate herself into the New York lifestyle. And, like, her personality is just so tough and cutthroat and, like, out there, and she doesn't care what anybody thinks. She is who she is. And so it's like she's coming back, and, like, she's got her opinion to get out there, and, you know, she's gonna make sure you know it.
But I think it's also because it's her home.
Yeah.
You know, whether the show would have continued with or without her, I think either way she just wants to be home.
Exactly.
And like she said on the reunion, she wanted her daughter to experience New York.
Yeah,
which is fine, you know?
Yeah.
No problem with that.
Makes sense. And Renee says it was correct that she didn't know Karen was coming back to Vivica. Did you think that she was lying, or she knew?
Yeah,
she had to know.
I feel like that. I mean, they're so close.
Yeah,
you know,
they're like, and from this reunion, you can see how close they are, because we'll dive into later when they're arguing with each other, and she's like, "Shut up!" I'm like, that reminds me of me and my best friend, because whenever I get really heated and, like, my best friend tries to cut in to help me out, I'm like, "Shut up! I'm not done." And she's like, you know, like. But I saw that reaction. I was like, okay, that's awesome, because they're being themselves, and, like, you can tell that majority of the time they are, you know.
Definitely.
And Yeah, exactly. She says Arizona was peaceful, but she wanted to get back. And then we start with her and Nat G, and they kind of, and Renee, both Renee and Karen, but I meant Karen. Karen was screaming majority of this reunion. Would you say not?
Totally.
They all were. But I felt like Karen was on fire. She was waiting for this.
She was.
She was waiting for this.
And with everyone. She had her moments with everyone.
I feel like she had bullets like, all right, go ahead. I'm waiting for you to say it.
Exactly.
And then boom, she'd shoot out with her.
Yeah, it wasn't just Nat G. She kind of spit fire at Drita, Renee. So it kind of seemed like she had to be quiet filming those last couple episodes because it wasn't really about her drama anymore. They needed to like
move on,
put everybody else's fuel into the fire, and that's why I felt like it built up for her. And she let it all go with this reunion. She's not done.
Yeah. Oh no.
She's not done. Yeah. Nat D is going to help her out, I think, in part
two. Everyone just plays so dirty.
I know.
Take a drink to that, too.
Yeah, drink it up. So she says, Karen says that the whole drama between Alicia, because Nat G brings up Alicia and says that she's got her loyalty to Alicia, and that's where all the drama began between Karen and Nat G. And the reason why Alicia didn't come back this season, Karen did, is because Alicia had a problem with Karen's dad because her father put Alicia's father-in-law, right, into jail. And she talks about...
He killed him. He killed him.
Excuse me. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I'm like, killed. Where's the word killed? And, you know, I get that. What do you guys think?
Pissed too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and well, I think first of all too, I didn't really realize the connection between Alicia and Nat G when she first, when she came right out of the gates with that, kind of saying like, oh no, my loyalty's lied to Alicia. I was like, oh my gosh, Alicia. That's kind of the tie-in to her in this whole season, because this whole time we've been saying, you know,
who is this girl?
Yeah, like where'd they get her from?
Yeah,
and her connection to Alicia kind of brings it full circle, and I think it was interesting that they came right out of the gates with that and kind of established that initially. But yeah, I mean, assuming she is super close with Alicia, I think that's totally reasonable for her to have, you know, some beef or some issue with Karen. Granted, it wasn't Karen personally, of course, we keep rehashing that, but, you know, it's like, it's hard to get over bad blood like that.
The point Renee made, you know, because Renee kept coming out like this with these, like, I just have to scream and say this. And she said, like, if your loyalty is with Alicia, you shouldn't have to attack the other side, which is true. So what did you guys think about Karen going to Nat G saying, if this wasn't a hit by John Gotti and the Gravano name wasn't in this whole story, like with Alicia starting the whole Twitter war and the Karen Nat G drama, do you think that she would ever, like, do you think that Karen had a point with that, with the big name, the Gotti name, and Nat G, like, wanting to kind of, like, rise? And so she publicized these names like online with her social media.
She could. I mean, I think that she's kind of shown to be a little on the dirty side with that, you know, threatening to air the dirty laundry and threatening, you know, all of these things kind of behind the scenes. So it wouldn't surprise me if she ended up being someone to kind of, you know, toss names out there to just elevate herself. It wouldn't surprise me.
Me either.
Yeah, I think it's hard to carry the Gravano name. There comes consequences with that, you know. You can't really run from that. That's who you are. So I don't know, I think it's unfair for Nat G to threaten those things out there. It's like, well, I didn't do it, but I have the name.
To Nat G's defense, she says, I don't give a F about whose name is what, Gotti or Rat, and it's like, you don't care about names, but you care about, like, mentioning people's names constantly and using that term rat, which Drita says to her, like, you need to keep that out of your vocabulary. And we're going to quickly get to that, like when that whole Storm and the boyfriend situation went down. But overall, I mean, for it to start out over, again, drama that wasn't Natalie's, but we did talk about something last week, right? With Gabby telling Erica the whole friend situation, like Nat D, like defending her friends when it gets to Nat G. Maybe that was what Nat G. Look at me defending Nat G. Drinking.
Who would have thought this would happen? Only at the reunion.
Yeah. Only I said I'm like I have to find a way for the fans to know that I don't hate her. I am not hating on her. I am simply laying out the facts, just like everybody else is. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
I'm gonna start calling you Storm. That's what he did throughout the whole reunion.
Storm was his fact.
This is a fact.
My God, I can't wait.
That's your name.
I know. Can't wait to get there.
Can't wait to. And but but that's my point, that like her defending Alicia because it's her friend and being that way towards Karen, I could see that, but like you said, going so deep below the belt is what she needs to stop doing.
It's boundaries. What she needs is boundaries.
Yeah.
Don't go so far. There's no need for it.
Right.
Yep.
And something that I thought was hilarious, I hope you girls caught this, but it was during this time they were kind of talking about the whole like defending, situation. And Nat G says to Ange, I want to thank you for defending me. And immediately all the women are just like rolling their eyes like, come on now. Yeah, like we have passed that so long ago. We are not defending you at this point. She's like, I just want to thank you. And they're just like, come on, girl. That's not what's happening right now.
All of them reacted that way.
Yes.
And it just goes to show, man. And Karen made a good point again, saying that she's just kind of dumb because she doesn't think before she speaks. And that's one thing that I even have to learn. Like, a lot of people like don't
have a filter.
And like my mom always says, think before you speak. And it's like, it's true.
There's a lot of truth to that.
I don't think she ever thinks, because she needs to be on the defense. Yep. She needs to always defend herself. She can't just kind of be humble. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's an insecurity issue. Maybe that's why she always has to whip her tits out. And like Vivica said, like in the beginning, she's complimenting him. Every time we came back from a commercial break, Vivica's always trying to like compliment everybody, like keep it easy. Yeah. And she attempted to compliment Natalie in the beginning. She's like, yeah, you look nice. Like, I should whip my tits out now. And that's how I felt too.
I know that outfit, man. That was.
She commented to Storm about wearing a gold chain. She's like, look at you and your effing gold chain.
He should have said
look
to
at
her,
you and your gold chain.
You and your gold chain.
Yeah. The whole time she's like,
it's like barely pieces of chain covering everything.
You guys are gonna. I'm not jealous of her either. I mean, like everybody's got something, right?
Yeah.
If you got it, flaunt it. But like, man, girl, that's why we were saying last week when we saw her in the photo shoot, she looks beautiful covered up.
I mean,
she's
she
a
is beautiful
girl.
Yeah, there's no denying that. She's absolutely beautiful.
I would love to see her in like a chic outfit with like actual just straight black hair and like minimal makeup. It'd
be great.
She would look amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And I see her all the time.
That's
on
probably what
Instagram.
London prays for.
I know. He's
like, will it happen today?
Yeah, poor London. Let's talk about London real quick then.
Oh my gosh.
That's very unfortunate. I think that they kind of blew up that situation a little out of proportion. I mean, we started off talking about how he was attacked in the club.
Which, by the way, when he walked out and we saw the scar on the face.
From the ear
let's put a
face.
smile on that face.
Oh my God.
That's all I was thinking.
bad.
I was like, that is some Batman Joker shit. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah, very
I feel bad
serious.
for the dude. And I hope it wasn't Mob Wives related. I hope it wasn't, Nat G from being on the show, or anything like that.
I know, and I hate this, but that's the first thing that came into my head too. I was like, oh my God, if this was anything that Nat G or Mob Wives, whatever, stirred up for this poor guy to have that happen to him.
And he's got a sweet little baby face.
And if it were related, I hope London or Nat G is smart enough to be like, you know what, I'm not going to go on, the next season. Mm-hmm. If there is, I need to protect my family. If this could happen at the club, it could happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was, exactly. It was a cut with a box cutter, and it happened to him in a club. And then we'll get to the social media tactics that Nat G used. She posted the picture of the guy who cut London's face open, and Drita just goes rat move, and of course Storm is clouds of brewing, like causing a storm. But I saw his point. What do you guys think?
I agree with what Drita said. She said it's okay for London to do that because he's a 95 guy. He's not in that mob life. But for Nat to do it, if she claims to be in that mob life, it's not okay, which I totally agree.
Take the word rat out of your vocabulary. Day one.
Exactly.
Day one, she should have been doing that. I wrote a perfect answer by that because it was Drita's smart. Drita's a smart.
It's logical, though. It just makes sense.
Yeah. It's also because she's an actual mom, and like, God, people are gonna kill me. I know Nat G's a mom too, but it's just different when you're a mom and you dress like Drita for the reunion, and when you're a mom and you dress like Nat G. It's just, I know there are people out there who are like Nat G, who like Nat G, as we saw from the Shazam dislike thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if half those Shazammers are men who want to stick their head in between there and do like motorboat, but
could be very well.
But but I was telling the girls, I was speaking to my boyfriend, And he's like, it's because there are people out there who look up to Nat G, that want to be like that. And I'm like, I guess because I hear them on YouTube all the time. I see them on Twitter. Like, but why aspire to be like that?
I think it's just the modern day culture and how America just is. You know, we look up to magazines and Hollywood and TV, and we think that that's the real thing. And Nat G may be as beautiful as she is and have a great body and be able to wear that, you know, commend to her. But I think growing up and we see images like that, we want to be like
we want to look good
we
like
want a
that.
perfect body. We want perfect makeup. We want perfect hair.
But she's got the mouth of a freaking garbage truck.
Yeah,
so do I sometimes. But any girl that says "suck my D" isn't a girl. Like it's
just not classy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of the veterans made a lot of good points. Like Drita with the rat comment, Renee said she's a beautiful girl. It's when you open that mouth,
right?
And it's
she
true.
even goes, "You're jealous of me." I mean,
that was uncalled for.
Yeah,
come on.
That was uncalled for.
It was an immature approach to take to that argument.
And that's
for sure.
And I think that's something that we have to take in consideration is that she is young.
Yeah, that is true.
She is young, and that's
how old
probably
is
why
she?
she dresses that way. Probably in her late 20s.
Yeah. She looks like it. I love that Renee's like, the bitch gets the hotel room or the bathroom diner, referring to Storm and Karen's, perhaps him cheating, but
right.
Well, let's get to
run-in.
that. So, do you guys think that was a true story on Storm's part? That the girl's boyfriend was in the car?
No.
And even Vivica was like...
You saw Vivica react. I would react the same exact way.
Her reactions were funny. I'll give you that. Your reactions were funny.
No, I unfortunately do not think it was the story. I also really hated how when Storm was called out on it, he immediately got defensive again. And I was like, oh my God, if you're really trying to tell this truthful side of things, and now is your opportunity to be like, remorseful, yeah, and really get to the bottom of it. I totally wanted him to like acknowledge it, apologize for it, be sweet about it, and he wasn't. He was just so defensive.
But if Storm and Karen had settled it like we saw on the show, I think as a guy, it's like, well, I settled it with her already. Why am I going to bring it up and start all over and start the fight all over?
For all of us.
Yeah, because you have to.
Yeah, because it's in your contract. Right. It sucks because I kind of like Storm.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And like Karen said, if she didn't have a reason to not trust him before, why start now? It's an incident. If she can move on from it, then great. And if your relationship is great from then on and it doesn't happen again, then that's fantastic.
Yeah. And Renee,
I think you just got to be more cautious so that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, which I hope not.
Yeah,
because I kind of like them. I like them
what's
together.
the saying? Do it once, shame on you.
Twice shame on me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So she's a big girl.
I believe in second chances.
Yeah.
If it was true.
So we see, Renee takes to his defense, says it takes a real man to apologize, and they talk about their exes had how, like, Drita came to Renee's defense when her ex went, sour on her. And Karen says, I'll just always react that way that we saw on that episode when I'm surprised and take it back like that.
I feel like anybody would.
Yeah. How could you not? And I said on one of these AfterBuzz TV shows, I've been in a situation like that, like before, where I was the other girl walking in, and there was a girlfriend there, and I was like, bye, and ran out. And then the girl came chasing after me. I was like, dude, he invited me. I didn't even know about you. So, it's not a unrealistic situation, for sure.
Not at all.
And he could definitely learn.
And I don't even think Karen was wrong at all for reacting whatever way she reacted. Any person would, and for sure. Yeah.
So let's get on a little.
Oh, and another funny thing that happened at this point too was their little montage. I don't know if you have that in your notes too, but that was hilarious.
The one where they're all cussing?
Yes.
So
like
funny.
The most horrible languages of like hurting each other and just, oh my God, it was hilarious.
We're not allowed to cuss, but what would your favorite cuss word be?
Mine?
Yeah. What's your go-to?
Like tits. I just say tits a lot. I say the word. It's not. No, but it is. I was once on like a FM radio show and said that, and they had to dub it out, and they had 7 seconds of off it, like in between the time to like make up for it, because it was that much delayed to what you were hearing, and they had to like go breasts because I said.
Oh no.
So technically,
So when you're mad at somebody, you just say tits?
You tit mother effer. Tit effer.
I think if you were to say that to me,
like an insult. Don't be like, thank you.
If you were to say that to me, I'd be like,
Be like, what?
Can we start over?
What'd she just call me?
That's funny.
I have that somewhere. Eat face.
Yeah, Drita.
I'm
He's
gonna
eat someone's face.
Funny.
Yeah.
Bullets in the face, sanitation center, neck popping.
They're very creative.
They are so creative.
And that's what they say. They're like,
Yeah.
we're just creative.
Yeah, I loved every single part of that montage.
Yeah. Let me move up, though, a little bit before we get past the montage. Still going off of, the issue with the box cutter and the rap move part that leads to Drita, kind of putting that G in her place with the vocabulary storm answer, and then Storm wants to interject, and Vivica's like, nope, I'm not listening to you, because she had a good purpose. She wanted to play the montage of the drunken monkey and what went down there. And it's just so funny how they get back from the montage, and Karen's just like, well, me, London, and Storm were on the same page, but Natalie wasn't.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, because, I think that was even addressed back in the episode, too, when they aired it. At the time, the three of them were on the same page, and Natalie was the only one kind of spewing this alternative story, and then come to the reunion, they're still thinking that way. Like, the three of them still thought there wasn't an issue, and Natalie is still harping on the fact that there apparently was one.
And London even says, the way that Natalie takes things might be different than how I do. It's like...
Which I believe.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the way Storm handled himself in the reunion. He was just yelling and
He was a
barking
little
at
angry.
Nat G. And this is another reason why I like London, is when he defends her, he's like, you know what? I know she's got a mouth, but please watch your words to my lady.
He's very respectful.
He's
Right,
very which
respectful.
I think Storm should have done. If you're going to get mad at her, there's a nicer, I guess.
Another thing about
tone it
London,
down.
when they have the little talk about how their relationship is going, and they talk about the therapy, and London's
need
like,
more
we need more sessions. I literally wrote, that will be going on the rest of your life, dude. Like, if you're going to be with this
I see no end in sight.
crazy girl, beautiful, but crazy, but you're going to go.
She needs somebody like that, though.
Like,
to calm her down.
I don't know how, man, good for him.
I know. He's a trooper.
He's a keeper.
Yeah.
He is a keeper. Respect to London, poor guy.
I know.
And then when we got to the part where she says, "Shut the F up with your chain" to Storm. Meanwhile, she's got chains dangling over her tits. And Drita points out that everyone has hacked into everybody's family. And that's when we see Karen take that target at Drita and says, "You're cool with people who do that to you." And Drita's like, "Don't go there, because you've done that with me and Lee before."
I don't recall that situation.
No. It was back in the day when Drita had drama with them, just like they've all had drama with each other. And I don't know the complete full story, but I believe, Lee is just as much as involved in one point as, like, Karen's father was.
Yeah, and like, Drita and Karen have their whole backstory and like drama with Lee too, of course, so with Karen dating Lee. So, that I'm sure is just like a sensitive spot no matter what they're talking about. It's always going to go back to that too.
And they don't want to, though, because they were like kind of going at it back and forth. Renee was like, let's just get off this, because I can't. They use the I can't, we can't, they can't, which is true. They would just keep going. And there's multiple times that Renee said that in this reunion. She was like, can we just not? And poor Vivica, trying to get them to just shut up. And
she was working hard.
I even wrote in my notes, I don't understand what they're saying, because they're all screaming.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was hard to understand. And, Renee, and then Renee had some great lines in this reunion. She says, as crazy as they are, they're creative, and that in reality, they wouldn't do all these things to each other.
Right.
With the whole, curse montage. Do you think that actually, though, that they might have, if they could get away with it?
Right, if the cameras weren't rolling and they didn't have security pulling them apart.
Mm-hmm. They could just call their family. Drita could be like, Lee, I got a job for you. That's what...
I'm so nervous to get into this racism conversation. We'll get there in 5 minutes. I know everybody hates when I say that, but we will. We have to be in order here. So we have the Victoria Gotti flashback.
Yes.
I cannot believe Renee had the balls to say, "She's no boss to me." That's some scary shit. Okay? Because that's Victoria Gotti.
There's just some people you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, but Renee does not care. She's not scared. She's like Karen. They just aren't, and they show us that they're not every time. And that's why it's hard to for me to say that Nat G isn't scared sometimes, because she doesn't always go in all the way.
But I'm all for people that can stand up for themselves, and that's what they're doing. And I don't think that you can disrespect that.
Yeah, I would agree.
And in all fairness, too, like in reference to the sit down that Ange and Renee had when Ange brought in Victoria Gotti, I can easily see Renee being thrown off a little bit, expecting to just be there. Yeah, expecting to just be there with Ange, and then like all of a sudden Victoria Gotti's walking in, and she's
I believed
like,
her too when she said I didn't know she was coming.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Her
for sure.
surprise seemed authentic. It really did.
Okay, little tidbit, and you guys hated me for this, but because we're like, Mob Wives might not come back, we don't know. Like, so I have to say it. I said in the beginning of the season, everybody hated because they didn't give the full truth. So Victoria Gotti is my cousin's gonna kill me. My cousin's husband's mother's aunt.
Okay,
Really?
let's start over. Your cousin's
Husband,
okay.
mother's
Got it.
aunt.
Have you met her?
Mm-mm.
Do you want to meet her?
No, but we went out. Have you
asked to meet her?
No, because I'm scared. I know.
You can get some inside information
I'm not,
for
related
us.
to her. You know, my cousin isn't either, and all the YouTubers were like, "Oh, this girl's all talk." I'm like, "No, man,
Has your
I've got
cousin-
some Mafia relation."
do.
But no, my cousin. We went out one night, and it was her when right before she was marrying him, and she was so gung ho. Oh my God, I'm marrying into the Gotti family that we got too drunk in Atlantic City. Lo and behold, like
it happens there.
Yeah, and she got kicked out of the club. And as she's getting kicked out of the club, my cousin's like, "Do you know who I am? Do you know Victoria Gotti?" And at that point, I was like, "Whoa, it's real!" And I was just like, "She's kidding." But so that's crazy. I wasn't lying.
Is her last name Gotti?
No.
Okay.
Because it's like
It's
so far away.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's not
Interesting Nicole tidbit there. Look at that.
I wasn't lying to you guys.
That's probably how most of these like mob wives get on the show. It's just like a tree.
They're
like
gonna be like,
that.
"We're calling Nicole, get her on the show."
Yeah, if they have another season 6.
Let's hope.
Nicole.
We need at least one more. Not for me. Oh my God, no. I don't
Right.
want to be.
No,
I don't want my
would
head
die.
chopped off or a scar across my face.
No, I mean easily if this continued for many seasons, I would be right there watching it. Not gonna lie, you know,
It's addicting.
Yeah.
It's like just like this. One more sip.
totally.
We're drinking the blood, ladies. That's what we're drinking. So, Karen says she would like to sit down with Victoria Gotti, referring to both of their fathers passed, which they need to film that. What do you think?
Absolutely.
That would be insane.
Yeah,
Because those are two legendary men in the mob.
But I think the viewers would also just understand everything a lot better and clear a lot up, and I think that's what the fans want.
The fans are awesome, though, because you guys do your research, like, sometimes more than us, because there are people that actually know the mob more than the mob wives. You would rather know your information about where these women came from than just the drama after the fact, you know?
Right.
Like, and even my boyfriend made a point last night, like, and this is no racist comment, and we're going to get into the racism talk that they had at the end of this reunion, but back in the day, no woman whose father was in the mob or like this, that, it's a new generation, so it's fine. You were not allowed to date colored men or Spanish men. You just were not. So for that, now you look ahead and you see these mob wives with, you know, Karen's with Storm and Natalie's with London. It's like, look at the change in time. Look at, you know what I mean? But you know, they say they're mob this, mob that. You know, they're not. They're just the wives. Their families are what really are the mob relation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And something that I thought was interesting, too, about the whole Victoria Gotti introduction into all of this. Ladies, tell me what you think about this. Vivica mentioned, of course, she asked Karen if she would be willing to sit down with Victoria Gotti and, you know, hash things out and everything. And I feel like the reason that she asked that, I feel like it was a little nod to part 2. Is it possible that Victoria could come out
I don't think
for
so.
a moment?
It would be cool. We predicted Carla. We never touched on Victoria, though.
Yeah, and I feel like we would have had no reason to, other than the fact that Vivica specifically mentioned, like, would you?
Yeah.
And I feel like there was a reason for that.
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
prediction.
I kind of
Definitely
have a
good
little...
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Yeah, we'll,
You never know.
We'll hit on that
we
later,
definitely
too.
know that Nat D's coming back.
Yeah.
Who kills me.
Yes.
Love her. The fans were disappointed on our Nat D, like, triumph last episode because we were all talking about how much we all kind of like her. It's hard not to like her. You don't like her, though.
No, I thought it was easy for me not to like her.
Natty. She's someone that you obviously off the bat in real life would probably be like, I don't want to be friends with her. But she's entertaining, so
she is entertaining. I'll give her that. Yeah,
I think that was the point we were trying to make. Exactly. So then we got to the jealous part, because we see the flashback and Nachi, because we get down and dirty to moving past the Ange and Renee thing and moving into Karen and Nachi's fight. And Nachi always says, if you can't deal with what I have to say, keep your mouth shut. Come at me if you can't. And certainly Karen did. And then we get back in real time, and Vivica says, why did you pick up the glass? Why did you have to go towards that?
I think it was just in the moment thing. Probably not the brightest idea, yeah. Right. But I think she was just in the moment, and I think that when you're heated like that,
it wasn't like a wimp move. You don't think?
Well, I mean, coming from Nat G, it's hard to say because she hasn't proven herself. Yeah, this whole entire season she keeps talking it up and not backing it up. So if anything, I mean, I think that, like we said earlier, had the security not been there, had the cameras not been there, had it actually been a fight like that, no doubt in my mind she would have grabbed that glass and done whatever she intended on doing. You know?
How about Big Ange defending? Not Nat G, but saying that she vouched for Karen in that Renee and Karen are yelling at each other, but Ange just is nodding and is no, I vouched for you in that part because she says everything that you say makes you so ugly with your words. It's mean, but it makes you ugly because they go to the whole jealous thing and you're jealous of me because you pulled my hair, and it's no.
I thought Ange was right. I agree with her. Yeah. I've agreed with everything that Ange and Judith had to say so far.
The funniest
I
thing
really have, but it's true.
The funniest thing was Ange talking about Victoria Gotti, and she's like, she speaks intelligently.
That's the barometer for who you want to come mediate your sit down. She speaks intelligently.
So funny. She was like, I liked it. She just couldn't tell.
Ange's so cute.
I know.
Don't you just love her?
Yeah, I do. I really do. It was just so funny. But yeah, going back to the fight. So. It's just so much. I even wrote this in my notes. This is just too much because you see Karen you're ugly with your words, and just nodding her head. Renee's yelling at Karen. Karen's shut up, I need to make my point. Drita's laughing, and then they bring up the racist comment, and Karen says that Nat G is a racist, and
I think that was so uncalled for and so overboard.
Karen's fault, you think?
I think for bringing it up. I mean, that's
we're in tough times right now with everything going on in Ferguson. It's do we really want to keep stirring this racism pot in our society?
That card is very dangerous, and I don't think that it should have been used. Right. I think that she went too far. It's obvious that I don't think Nat G is a racist. I don't believe that. She's obviously dating someone who, is biracial, and her son is biracial. She said that on Twitter all day yesterday. I don't believe that. I think it was just another piece of ammo that she wanted to use.
Do you think that because I can't go back in these tweets, I'm sorry, I can't, but did she really say that she had a burnt...
I was just gonna ask, do we know what she said? Because same with you, Nicole. I
didn't catch it. I don't know exactly.
I don't know exactly what she said. I think that was the reference, though.
Burnt. Karen says, you know what you said, quote, sorry, this is a quote, burnt bitches, referring to her kid.
But then Nat G said, well, sorry, I'm not a homegirl. And that's what kind of set it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing, too, is Karen maybe shouldn't have brought it up. But for that to be Nat G's comeback to it, it's
just start the pot.
Yeah, but then again, she's never the bigger person anyways to say, I'm not going to engage in this. And then here she comes with another thing that just isn't becoming of her. She once again proves Ange's, opinion of her, that she just is constantly ugly with her language and just always
I love that Ange went, you think, when it came to her mouth. And I kind of enjoyed Ange not being on that G's side, which all of you would be sure you did because you hate her. No, I enjoy Ange kind of realizing what we've been all seeing the whole season.
Well, I think Ange knows it's true. you say all these ugly words, but that doesn't mean you've been a bad friend to me. You know, I can say that you have an ugly mouth, but I'm still going to be your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. And I love Renee. She says, the way that you handle things, I just want to choke you because that's the only way to shut you up. And she, you know, and Karen, again, is... I can't believe she told Renee to shut the fuck up. Oop, sorry.
In the moment. But yeah, how funny was that? I mean, I feel like that was a real window into their true like friendship and relationship with one another, because that was it caught me off guard for sure watching it.
Yeah.
You know, seeing Karen get heated and Renee try to pop in, and then Karen just like immediately shut her down and told her that. And I was like, whoa, oh my God, that just happened.
And if you notice in that whole argument, I think at the time when they were filming, Big Ange and Nat G weren't getting along. I don't know if they were friends, but it seemed like something was going on, because when they were yelling, Renee says, Drita, that's your friend. Ange, that's your girl. And Ange, if you catch it, she says, no, I don't stay with her anymore. Let's get that straight.
And Gabby actually had texted me and said, make sure you point that out tonight, because... yeah, that's a big deal. What do you think?
Well, at the time, I mean, I believe it. Ange straight up said, I don't stay with her anymore. Let's get that straight. But if you look back at the tweets from yesterday, they're friends. They hashed it out last week, apparently, and they're fine. They went out to dinner.
Which is nice, and I could kind of see that from Ange. I mean, I think she really like wholeheartedly is trying to kind of just, you know, smooth everything out. She really doesn't want to have an issue with anyone if she doesn't have to. You know, Nat G's situation kind of came out and she had no choice, but you know, for her to work past it, I mean, I kind of could see that from her.
But I think that if you can hash it out with a friend, you should. Why?
Yeah.
What's the need for all this drama for more problems that you need to carry? You know.
Yeah,
make that decision. Either you want to hash it out and
so you think that. So you guys think that Ange is still friends with Nat G?
They claim to be. They confirmed it on Twitter.
Okay.
Well, if Twitter
you don't
says
believe me,
so.
go check. I know, right?
If Twitter says so, it must be true.
I'm looking at Twitter right now as we speak, and everybody's hating on Vivica's hosting, and people are also saying that she wouldn't let certain people get a word in. She was kind of being rude to Nat G in London. Do you agree, or
I do in one spot. There was it was Storm, and I think they were talking about the London's accident, and Storm, you can see on the left, he raises his hand to speak, but Vivica says no, okay, moving on, and she cuts to commercial. But before that, Nat G says, I want to talk, let me talk, can I talk? And Vivica says, well, let me ask you a question. So she asks the question, but to London. He explains what happened to the perpetrator that cut him, and then she cuts to commercial. She did come. That could have been a time thing.
That's one thing about this. I was like, you guys cut out so much. I know you did, and why?
It's a lot of.
Why aren't you letting us see maybe what she's saying? And
it could be fit for time.
Definitely for timing. Definitely for timing, but like there had to be some
important things.
Probably because she was cursing half the time and just like going off, and they didn't want to. Because she tends to do that. She tends to just. It's like get to the point, make your point, stop cursing and babbling on and
ranting.
It gets to a point where it looks like everybody sitting around there just didn't want to hear what she had to say. Paulina. What do you think? I know you kind of like. Do you think it was unfair that she didn't have the chance to say what she wanted to say?
I think she didn't get enough of the time to. Yeah, I do in a way. Vivica. Oh, that's the one thing I hated. She asked Drita and Ange what they thought about Nat G's situation about the club, and I'm like, why would you? I got kind of angry. It's like, ask Nat G and London about that situation because they were there. Right. They were involved. Why do we gotta? I don't. To be honest, I don't care what Drita and Ange think because they weren't there. They're not involved.
Good point.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think they let her talk enough to elaborate or even clear up a situation.
That's true.
Yeah, and I do agree that she deserves her time. I mean, I feel like her actions, her actions have proven like the kind of person that she is thus far. But I mean, everyone deserves their piece, their moment to speak. So yeah, I think she was a little bit cheated out of that.
And we see in part 2, she leaves. She's gone.
Right.
She's like, if you're not going to let me talk, I'm out.
I think that's because of Nat D.
Oh well, yeah,
for sure.
But you hear her say, "Suck my D," and you hear her say, "If you guys aren't going to let me talk, I'm walking away." And you know, something she's very good at, walking away.
Oh yes,
but
we've seen it many times
because it's your time on the reunion to get out the facts, and that's what she's trying to do, or you know, she wants to like talk us into believing her, like she's done throughout this whole season to me, but this is her time to show us her point, and she's kind of getting held back from it. Maybe it's because she's saying silly things like her family is a boss and her brother is a well-respected detective. She rhymed. Do you remember when she said that?
Yes.
There's just certain things she does say that
are irrelevant.
Yeah, and then Ange.
And someone, yes, Ange or Renee, I'm not quite sure who, but they made the quick reference when she said that, like, oh, that sounds like some cop talk. Or maybe even Storm. I think Storm might have said it. Because that's like the constant issue that we've seen over and over again with Nat and all of the things that she does, Nat G, in regards to being the cop caller and being
anyone
the rat.
that does the police's job as a rat. Said I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also can agree with the whole 9 to 5 thing. So I think that was the juiciest moment of the reunion.
And
I think so too.
They're never going to come to a conclusion. They're never going to agree. Their stories are never going to, be the same and be like, you know what, I see your point. Cool. But there's not even a let's agree to disagree.
No.
Well, they sort of tried to do that when they were talking about the rat move with the whole, the Scar situation that's current. And London says, it's a matter of an opinion. And Storm's like, yeah. So, yeah, agree to disagree. We have to wrap it up, unfortunately. We could talk about this
all night long.
But let's just go around real quick. Where can everybody find you? We have no predictions for next week, just that we're so excited to see Nat D finally attack Nat G. Are we in agreement? I don't know.
We agree.
Go ahead, guys.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Blake V Media.
You can find me on Twitter at _Paulina Aguilar. And if you guys are interested for more drama, check out Twitter with the feud from Nat G and Vivica.
And you can find me at Nicole Brajer on Twitter. Stay tuned for us next week. We're going to do part 2. We're so excited. Maybe we'll have an interview for you guys, and we'll have a full panel. And a fight. Stay tuned. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.